good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I need you to stay with me for the next few minutes, because what I am about to tell you is something that could fundamentally change the way you walk, the way you stand, the way you carry yourself through every single day you have left on this earth. And I don't say that lightly. Here is a truth that the modern medical system has failed to communicate to millions of people over the age of 60. Your legs are not giving out because of your birthday. Your legs are giving out because of your plate. The candles on the cake are not the problem. What you are eating, or more accurately, what you are not eating, is the problem. And the moment you understand that distinction, you take the power back. Every single bit of it. I am Dr. Alara Health, and today I am going to hand you a precise, evidence-based blueprint. 6 specific foods, counted down from effective to extraordinary, that can rebuild muscle fiber in your legs, reduce the chronic inflammation that is silently eating your tissue alive, and restore the kind of stability and independence that you may have already started mourning. I need you to stop mourning it. It is not gone. It is waiting. Now, before I give you the list, I want to share a number that fundamentally altered the way I practice medicine. A comprehensive meta-analysis published in the British Medical Journal reviewed data from over 28,000 adults aged 60 and older across 19 countries. It found that individuals with measurable lower extremity muscle weakness were 76% more likely to experience a serious fall within the following 3 years. Not a stumble, not a close call. A fall that resulted in hospitalization, surgical intervention, long-term rehabilitation, or in far too many cases, a permanent loss of independent living. 76%. That means if you put 4 seniors with weak legs in a room, 3 of them will experience a life-altering fall before their next birthday cake has 3 more candles on it. And the most devastating part of that statistic is not the number itself. It is the fact that the overwhelming majority of those falls were preventable. Not with medication, not with surgery. With food. Specific food, the kind I am about to show you. And I will tell you this right now. The number 1 food on today's list is something so common, so inexpensive, and so widely available that you could walk into virtually any store in the world and buy it today for less than the cost of a cup of coffee. And yet, researchers at one of the most respected institutions in the world have now identified it as one of the single most powerful natural compounds for protecting aging muscle tissue that science has ever documented. I am saving it for last because it deserves the full weight of your attention when we get there. But first, I want to hear from you. Right now, before we go any further, scroll down and leave me a comment. Tell me your age. Tell me what your legs feel like when you wake up in the morning. Do they feel stiff? Do they feel heavy, like they are full of wet sand? Does getting out of bed require a strategy now? A sequence of movements you have to plan before you execute? Tell me. I rate every single comment that is left on this channel. Every one. And I want you to know that your experience, your exact words, may be the thing that convinces someone else to keep watching. Someone who was about to click away. Someone who needed to hear that they are not alone in this. So please, take a moment and share. Now, let us begin. We are counting down from 6 to 1. From powerful to genuinely transformational. Number 6, and I want you to hear me clearly on this one, because it contradicts almost everything the wellness industry has been shouting for the last 20 years. Sweet potatoes, not white potatoes. Not regular potatoes mashed with butter and cream. Sweet potatoes, and specifically the deep orange-fleshed variety that most grocery stores carry year-round for almost nothing. I know what some of you are thinking. A carbohydrate for muscle strength? In the age of low-carb everything, that sounds like heresy. And I understand the skepticism. But the science does not care about dietary trends. The science cares about what happens inside your cells. And what happens inside your muscle cells when you eat sweet potatoes is remarkable. Your muscles run on glycogen. Glycogen is stored glucose, and it is the primary fuel source for every muscular contraction your legs perform throughout the day. Every step, every stair, every time you push yourself up from a chair, your quadriceps and hamstrings are burning glycogen to do it. After the age of 60, your body becomes progressively less efficient at storing glycogen in muscle tissue. A study from the University of Nottingham in England found that adults over 65 had approximately 23% lower muscle glycogen stores compared to younger adults. Even when consuming the identical amounts of carbohydrate, your muscles are essentially running on a quarter tank of fuel at all times. And when the tank runs dry mid-activity, that is when your legs buckle. That is when the stumble happens. That is when the fall occurs. Sweet potatoes are what nutritional scientists call a complex low glycemic carbohydrate. They release glucose slowly, steadily, over hours rather than minutes. This slow drip of fuel allows your aging muscles to absorb and store it far more efficiently than the rapid spike and crash that comes from refined carbohydrates like white bread or sugary snacks. Think of it like the difference between pouring water gently into a cup versus throwing it. The gentle pour fills the cup, the throw splashes everywhere, and half of it ends up on the floor. Sweet potatoes pour gently. Your muscles fill up, but sweet potatoes carry a second weapon that almost no one discusses. They are extraordinarily rich in beta-carotene, the orange pigment that your body converts into vitamin A. And vitamin A, according to research published in the FASEB journal, plays a direct role in the regulation of muscle stem cells called satellite cells. These satellite cells are your body's built-in muscle repair crew. When a muscle fiber is damaged, whether from a fall, from overuse, or simply from the daily wear of aging, satellite cells activate, migrate to the damaged site, and fuse with the injured fiber to repair it. Vitamin A is one of the key signals that tells those satellite cells to wake up and get to work. Without adequate vitamin A, the repair crew stays asleep, the damage accumulates, the muscle weakens. One medium sweet potato delivers approximately 438% of your daily vitamin A requirement. That is not a supplement. That is a single food item that fits in the palm of your hand. My patient Dorothy, 73 years old, a retired school teacher from Richmond, Virginia, came to me complaining that her legs felt, and I remember her exact words, like they were running out of battery by noon every day. She was eating well by most conventional standards, lots of salads, lean chicken, very few carbohydrates, because she had been told carbohydrates were the enemy. Her muscles were starving for fuel, and she had no idea. We added one medium-baked sweet potato to her lunch 5 days a week, no other changes for the first month. At her 8-week follow-up, she told me the battery metaphor no longer applied. She said her legs felt like they had been plugged back in. She was walking her dog again in the afternoons, something she had quietly stopped doing 6 months earlier because she was afraid of getting too tired to make it home. For best results, bake your sweet potatoes whole at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 45 to 50 minutes. Baking concentrates the natural sugars and increases the bioavailability of beta-carotene. Top them with a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil, which dramatically improves the absorption of that fat-soluble vitamin A. Do not deep fry them. Do not load them with processed toppings. The potato itself is the medicine. Treat it with respect. Number 5 on the countdown, and this one belongs on this list for reasons that go far deeper than most people realize. Lentils. Small, humble, inexpensive, and among the most underestimated muscle-building foods available to the aging human body. Here is the problem that nobody is talking about loudly enough. After the age of 60, most people dramatically undereat protein. Not because they don't want it, but because their appetite shrinks, because chewing and digesting large amounts of meat becomes harder, because food simply becomes less appealing as taste buds dull and metabolism slows. A study from the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that nearly 46% of adults over 65 in developed countries fail to meet even the minimum recommended daily protein intake, and the minimum recommendation itself is now widely considered too low by leading researchers in the field of sarcopenia, which is the medical term for the progressive involuntary loss of term for the progressive, involuntary loss of muscle mass and strength that accelerates after 60. Your legs are losing muscle because your body is not receiving enough of the raw building material it needs to maintain them. It is that straightforward. Lentils deliver approximately 18 grams of protein per cooked cup. But what makes them exceptional for older adults is not just the quantity, it is the delivery system. Lentils are soft. They require minimal chewing. They are gentle on the digestive system. They can be cooked into soups, stirred into stews, blended into purees, folded into virtually any meal without effort or discomfort. For seniors who struggle with tougher protein sources like red meat or chicken breast, lentils remove every barrier between your body and the protein it is desperate for. But lentils carry a second gift that is critically important for aging legs. They are among the richest dietary sources of folate, delivering approximately 358 micrograms per cooked cup, which is roughly 90% of the daily recommended intake. Folate, also known as vitamin B9, plays a direct role in the synthesis of new cells, including muscle cells. It is also essential for the methylation cycle, a biochemical process that regulates homocysteine levels in your blood. Elevated homocysteine, which affects a staggering number of adults over 60, is now recognized as an independent risk factor for accelerated muscle wasting and impaired vascular function in the lower extremities. Research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that high homocysteine levels in older adults were associated with a 44% greater rate of muscle mass decline over a 4-year period. Lentils attack that problem directly by providing the folate your body needs to keep homocysteine in check. And there is a third dimension. Lentils are extraordinarily rich in iron, particularly for a plant food. Iron is required for the production of hemoglobin, the molecule in your red blood cells that carries oxygen from your lungs to your muscles. When iron is low, your muscles are starved of oxygen. They fatigue faster. They recover slower. They feel heavy and uncooperative. That morning heaviness in your legs that you attributed to aging may in fact be your muscles gasping for oxygen because your iron intake has been quietly insufficient for years. I had a patient named Harold, 78 years old, a retired mechanic from Tucson, Arizona. Harold had been losing strength in his legs steadily for 3 years. He had seen 2 specialists who told him it was simply what happens when you get older. When I reviewed his diet, the picture became immediately clear. He was eating mostly toast, canned soup, and the occasional piece of chicken. His protein intake was roughly half of what his body needed. His folate was critically low. We introduced lentils into his diet through a simple lentil soup that his daughter made for him in large batches every Sunday. He ate a bowl at lunch and a bowl at dinner 5 days a week. At 12 weeks, his grip strength had improved. At 16 weeks, he stood up from his chair without using his hands for the first time in over a year. He looked at me and said nothing. He didn't need to. The look on his face said everything. Cook your lentils simply. Red lentils dissolve into soups and stews beautifully. Green and brown lentils hold their shape for salads and side dishes. Add a squeeze of lemon juice when serving, as the vitamin C dramatically increases absorption of the plant-based iron. Pair them with any of the other foods on this list, and you amplify the effect exponentially. Number 4 on the countdown, and this is one that I have watched transform patients in ways that still astonish me. Almonds and walnuts. I am grouping these together because they share a set of properties that make them uniquely suited for the challenge of rebuilding leg strength after 60. But I want to be specific about what each one brings to the table. Let me start with the problem they solve. After the age of 60, your muscle cells come under relentless assault from oxidative stress. You can think of oxidative stress as biological rust. It is caused by molecules called free radicals, which are produced naturally as a byproduct of cellular metabolism, but which accumulate in increasing amounts as your antioxidant defenses weaken with age. This rust attacks